Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, what is going on?
I don't really care.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about what we care and don't care about for the next hour, as though no one were listening. I am curious, though, if anyone's listening, although I fear we've reached, like, the max of comments people are going to leave.
No way.
Have we capped out? No
Keep
cap?
the comments coming. You can hit us a review on Apple. You can comment on Spotify. You can go over to the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all over the place.
Okay.
This one's from I don't know who, but they said, I thought Elizabeth's irony point was going to be the person who invented the Segway took a Segway off of a cliff.
He sure did take a Segway off of a cliff.
Last week's episode. I
guess I never got to it, which is typical of me. I really sometimes ramble. But also you were really giving me red flags to slow down and stop because it was so inappropriate that I was finding it interesting and ironic.
Right.
Do I sound weird, like I'm underwater or something?
No.
Like, you sound very crisp to me, and I sound very, like...
You could point the mic up at your, like, this, so it's, like, pointing at your mouth a little bit more.
How is that? So, anyway, I today woke up and my toddler wanted me to make some brownies. Now, we have never had any refined sugar before, so I went out to my newly grown sugarcane patch. I cut down a piece of sugarcane. I pounded it. I don't know how sugar's made, but I did what I think would work. I went and harvested some cacao beans.
I like that voice. I'm going to loop that, just I pounded it over and over and just go to sleep to it every night.
Oh, God.
Because I can do that.
You could do that.
Those are the skills I've learned in my
accumulated over the
many years on this planet.
Skills, you know.
We don't have many of them.
We sure don't. I know I'm like a broken record, but today I also feel fearful that I might be falling under the weather.
Yeah, and this is what I'll say.
I'm struggling.
Let's set the stage real quick.
Okay.
This isn't going to be a downer episode or anything.
No.
But I want to set the stage. You think that you're getting sick. Let me preface this by many times when you think you're going to get sick, you don't get sick.
That's right.
I have a radar for this.
Yes.
Okay. So, and I hope sometimes I don't come off as too insensitive when sometimes you say I think I'm getting sick and I don't really pay much mind to it.
I'm a bit of go to the worst case scenario health-wise all times. We've established this.
So I feel like I have a radar for it. In this particular case, I think you're getting sick. I think I can see it on you. I think I can smell it on you. You know what I mean? So yeah. I do think also we have what do you call it? The falling deck of cards. That's not the right term.
House of cards.
House of cards. One kid was sick.
Dominoes.
They get well. The next kid's been sick. They get well. You getting sick makes all sorts of sense. And I actually do think typically in the cycle of the house, I'm usually last.
Yeah, well, it's because I'm the one who's up in their business. You're such a germaphobe that I find it so... I hope the kids don't see it.
Oh, they definitely know it.
They'll sneeze, and you're like, oh, like if it's in proximity to you. Whereas I could be like talking to them with my mouth open in front of theirs, and they sneeze into my mouth.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, oh, honey, and like hug them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not scared of your sick at all. Give it to me.
I don't really hide that I'm a little scared of the sick. And they're going to grow up with that. And it's unfortunate, but I think as long as they know that dad loves them, and I hope they're not talking about it in therapy. Like when we would get sick, my dad was distant. He wouldn't even give me a hug. Mm-hmm. He, made me, put hand sanitizer on every 15 minutes on the dot. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, I saw a teenage girl driving with her mom, and clearly they were like in a Subaru, but was just
say no more.
Was just reeking new driver, right?
Cute, yes.
And had the face of I'm pretty nervous driving with mom in the car face.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, when our kids get to that age, who will they be more nervous to drive with? If there's only one of us in the car, if it's me or if it's you.
Probably the better driver.
What do you mean?
Me.
They'll be more nervous. I don't think it has anything to do with driving skills, or I don't want to get into that.
Confidence.
I am more concerned with just our temperaments and who's going to handle it better. Just who do you think they'll be more nervous with, you or me? You think you?
You. I think
Now you think me.
I do, because you sometimes like explode.
Explode how?
Like, whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like you're like calm until you're not. And then you have like a very strong reaction. It's the reaction, we talked about this before, that has destroyed our son's ability to ever eat a strawberry again.
That's true. I just don't even realize
Because
the outbursts are as big as they are.
Yeah. There was a little mold on a strawberry you were washing, and you reacted from the kitchen as though like you had just been stung by a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
Speaking of scarring, I feel like I had one of those outbursts the other day when, I'm not going to name which kid, but I saw one kid put boogers on a blanket, and it was a sick blanket. And that could not compute to me. It was like one kid that's not sick putting boogers on the sick kid's sick blanket. There's a whole germ layer to all of this, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was unacceptable to me.
Yeah.
And so, gosh, what kind of complex will that give them?
Well, I worry about a complex that I would give where I have this voice like, what's a good example? Like, why? I'll be like, why did you just do that? Or like, why did you put your booger on the blanket in this tone?
Yeah, that tone's I think that's a great tone to have. You need to impart, what were you thinking? That's not a lot of these things. The blanket thing, okay? Part of the reason I'm getting so upset is I'm trying to protect them from being at someone else's house and being the kid that someone else saw put the booger on the blanket. I don't want them to have that reputation or have to experience that energy from other people coming at them. You know,
it's
trying
also
to
just not
life lessons.
Sanitary. It's like,
yes,
you don't do it.
You don't do it, because if you do it, then you're the person that's putting boogers on people's blankets and couches.
It should be established that this is like not the first time this has happened. This is a chronic issue.
I wasn't going to say it.
You know, I have a flashback to, I might have even told this story in the podcast, but when I was 9,
yeah,
I was babysitting, which is also funny. It was me and another 9-year-old were like tasked with watching a toddler. We were more like mommy's helpers, but also at this point in time, the thought of having 2 9-year-olds over on top of having a toddler would just feel like I'm watching now 3 kids.
Sure.
But back then it was different times, and like 12-year-olds were babysitting newborns, and it was a whole different ball game. But I was a 9-year-old with my 9-year-old friend Bria. I remember her, and she was so thoughtful even at that tender age. And I clearly had processed something my dad had done to me.
Yeah.
And my dad like would have some outbursts. My mom was always pretty gentle. The tone of "why are you" is definitely not from my mom. So but this kid, toddler, you know, picked his nose and ate it.
Yeah.
And I like freaked out on him. I was like, "We do not do that. That is disgusting."
Yeah.
And Bria was like, "Elizabeth,
they're really young."
Like,
maybe an appropriate thing to say to an older person.
Maybe, but even the way my response was so loaded. And I remember being very rightfully embarrassed. Like, Bria really put me in my place in a way.
The 9-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she was like, Jesus fucking Christ, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I wonder... I mean, I definitely did that recent. My thing was very loaded.
Yeah.
I had the experience, and I'm probably getting my memories a little twisted, but it was in high school or college where a friend was like, dude, you pick your nose a lot.
What?
Yeah. And it was.
I never knew this because I don't think of you as a big nose picker.
So it was a real moment of self-reflection and holy shit, there must be so many times where so many different people have seen me picking my nose.
And what would you do with them?
I felt just like, wow, I can't believe I've been doing this much and didn't realize it. And it took a friend to be like, dude, you pick your nose a lot.
Wow. And how brave of that friend, you know?
Yeah. And I'm actually very grateful that they did that.
And it's interesting now you having this reaction because I'm sure you weren't like finding a tissue to put the boogers in.
When I was...
You were rolling it up into a ball between your fingers and like flicking it because that's what you do.
Yeah, I've done that before.
You've done that before. You've definitely... But I don't think of you as a frequent nose picker. Now, I do pick my nose occasionally.
You pick your butt a lot.
I don't pick my butt. Stop it. But it's because I had this nose surgery, and now, like, since having that surgery, I feel like boogers are forming in there in a new way, and I need to clear things out. But I always get a tissue. I'm not, like, gross about it. But I'm also like, this is maintenance. It's like taking a Q-tip to your ear every once in a while, which we all do. Q-tip can act like we're not supposed to do that, but that's what we're doing.
I told you recently, and I was ashamed of it, but, you know, my booger picking time is when I get up at 5:30 to pee.
I didn't know that.
I go into the toilet. I usually sit down because it's too early to stand and pee.
Oh, I'm well aware.
And while I'm peeing, I usually pick a couple boogers and flick them into the bathtub.
No, you do not.
Yeah, probably every day. But you don't get into the shower hardly ever. I'm usually the first shower.
Our kids do?
No. I take a shower every morning.
And
do I not?
You wash those down?
Yeah, of course. I'm not leaving any.
Okay, because I don't.
I wash.
Disgusting.
I wash my hair down. I'm a shedder. I make sure everything goes down.
Gross.
But that's my booger picking time, and nobody sees it. See, I'm not in public.
So we had some friends over the other day, just while we're talking about gross habits with our kids. This delighted me so much. They have a kid who's like perfectly in between our kids' ages, and they all play together really well.
Yeah.
And they were playing a game of Truth or Dare.
Oh, this was cute.
And the next day, I found like they had taken a sock and crumpled up pieces of paper with the truths or dares written down on them.
Yeah.
And, you know, the dares were very silly and were like, go run in front of the grown-ups and tell them, you know, do something silly or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But the truths were so funny. And one was like, have you ever, and they're also spelled, you know, a little.
It. Hit me.
Have you ever sweared at school?
Yes. Have you?
Yeah. I've sweared, baby. I was naughty. So one of the questions was, do you have a crush?
Ooh.
Very cute.
Yes, I do.
Who?
Yeah.
You have a crush on me?
Okay. Yes. Keep going.
Have you ever farted in front of people and blamed the fart on someone else?
Many times.
Yeah, I think they learned that you still do that. It's so annoying. Here's something about you that's not fair.
Yeah.
You will let one rip when we're all hanging out watching TV and you blame Otis or Teddy or whoever's sitting next to you.
Yeah.
It is fun and funny.
Sometimes.
And everyone gets a giggle. But then you're a hypocrite. We'll all be sitting there watching TV and Otis will be like, you know, cuddling up next to you and will fart. Mm-hmm. And you get genuinely upset.
Because
it's not fair.
No, I'm not farting
fair.
On people. If I was like, if you and I were having a cuddle sesh, I'm trying to imagine this, and let's say you're behind me kind of spooning me on the couch. I don't ever see this happening. But then I tooted into your lap. You would lose your goddamn mind.
But do you see, I would. Mm-hmm. I'm also not sitting around letting a rip and blaming it on the very people that you're...
I'm not farting on anybody, though.
I know, but do you see, it's like real shades of gray. You don't get to get that upset with someone for farting when you're doing... Similarly, maybe not as
frequent.
No, maybe not as like horrifying to you or whatever, but pretty, naughty fart play. Okay.
But mine are never. I'm only blaming it on someone if there's a big audible fart. These are like you'll be sitting on the couch and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, where did that come from? And then you realize it came from the person that's like on top of you. It's different.
But you didn't feel it.
Ew, I don't want to talk about feeling the farts. I know that's a thing that you're into. I don't want to get into that on this
Oh, yeah,
podcast.
very into it. Okay.
You don't know your kink until you know your kink. I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough. You know what? I want to say something. There are so many more people out there than we can even fathom that that's their thing, that they love feeling other people fart on their skin. They love the heat. They love the sensation.
Ew.
They love the...
Okay, we all get it. Okay, we all. Listen.
I'd let you fart on me.
Okay. Here's my favorite. What are you laughing about?
I don't know.
Here's my favorite one. Have you ever pooped in your pants? Tell a story.
Whoa.
It says, tell a story.
Yeah,
at the end
yeah.
of it.
You've definitely pooped in your pants.
I don't think I have.
You definitely have. You have.
When?
I can't get the specifics, but I can remember a moment and you're like, oh my God, like
No.
like a little,
You're thinking of someone else. I would remember. Now I've pooped in I think it's pretty common when you're giving birth. That's going to happen.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but I'm like, that's the closest I've gotten. I don't think that I've pooped in my pants. The way you have. You can't, Andy, unless you have the receipts, you don't get to have this reaction.
Let me ask you if this is a big enough receipt, okay? When you know something in your bones, is that a good enough receipt for you?
No.
It's not?
No.
I've definitely pooped in my pants because I can feel what it feels like, and it's not a good feeling. So, hey, you can't... Okay, if I say to you, do you know what it feels like to poop in your pants? You don't feel that right now?
No, I mean, maybe there's like skid marks, but I can imagine.
A big skid mark.
I don't think so. I can imagine what it feels like. I have had lots of, here we go. You've asked for this. Like pretty sizable blood clots that are there at my vagina.
They're there at your vagina.
Yeah, like
Coming
in
out.
my underwear.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
Yeah, that probably feels similar.
Yeah.
I wonder what the difference in temperature is. Because I think there is a difference, right? Or is there no difference? And how will we ever find out?
Well,
That's one of those questions. How do you know?
That's something that could be easily tested.
But we can't test it.
Right.
I mean, we can, but we can't.
I'm pretty sure it's all just body temperature.
Do you, when you think of the period stuff, is it warm?
Yeah. Sometimes you can feel like when your period started because you feel this like warm, how do I describe it even? Like on your arm.
We can import that. But
hang on.
Oh, okay. If you
don't silence me when I'm talking. I'm not aborting anything.
Okay, fine.
I'm against abortion. Aborting this. I'm just kidding. I'm very pro-abortion, but a warm liquid just suddenly running down your arm and being like, oh,
yeah,
that's what it feels like.
To me, when you shit in your pants, it can actually, I understand that it is probably warmer. But to me, like if it then hits like the back of your thigh, it's colder feeling for some reason.
The back of your thigh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because you don't really have that much of a butt.
What are you talking about?
Your butt?
If I'm going
and
like
your thigh?
boxer days. Is this my thigh? Yeah. Okay. Behind this.
Yes.
If you shit in your pants, there can easily poop could get down there.
See, I have like a big butt. I don't think that poop is making its way to the back of my thighs.
The poop doesn't come out of the cheeks of the butt. You realize that, right? What does the big butt have to do with any of it?
Their cheeks like holding it in place. Whereas
Holding
yours,
what in place?
the poop.
No, that's not how it works. The cheeks have nothing to do with holding the poop in.
You wouldn't know because you don't have really cheeks.
Okay, do we need to talk about anatomy? How are the cheeks doing anything to hold the poop? The poop.
Because it's like there's a weight to the butt cheeks. Let's.
Okay, all right. I want to be fair to you, and I want to be fair that there is a small possibility where what you're saying might have some validity, but I think you're really talking out of your ass.
Here's the thing. Look, I don't shit my pants as often as you, and you don't have butt cheeks the way I do, so neither of us will, we're not going to crack this case.
You don't shit your pants as often as me, so let's just be real here. Did
I
probably
as a baby?
No, not baby. We're going 10 years old and over. No, I'll make it even better for you. 12 years old and over. Do you think you've ever shit in your pants?
I don't think so, but I really don't. I truly don't. I'm trying to think of when I've been super drunk. Have I woken up and there's poop? I don't think so. You're talking to a girl who got a UTI because I was in a boyfriend's dorm room in a Catholic school where I wasn't allowed to be there. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't access the bathroom for the whole night. And I held it instead of going in a trash can there's so many things that in hindsight I wish I had done. Mm-hmm. But I held it in when an infection was forming. And I still held it in.
Okay. I actually don't think that I've ever shit my pants from one of those moments where it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it to the bathroom. It's possible I've had one of those.
Oh.
It's more likely you fart and it gets away from you and it's like, oh no, I just shit my pants.
I don't think so. Why did you amend the age to 12 from 10? How many times did you...
I was trying to be generous. To you, not to me, not to my old
what's the
self.
difference between 10 and 12?
I don't know. I think there's a difference.
Such a short
I don't know.
period of time.
Listen, if you're 10 and you shit your pants versus 12, I'm giving you a little bit more leeway as a 10-year-old.
Okay,
And to be honest, I'll give any kid leeway. If you're shitting your pants and you're 12, I'm sorry. I'm there for you too.
Tell us a story about you shitting your pants.
I can't think of anything specific.
You would have failed this truth or dare.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That was the last one?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I want to tell you something that's new for me. My vision's going, and it's going quick.
Well... Hang on. I'm not laughing. That was just a funny way of putting it. Now, tell me about this because my vision also is going, but I know exactly what it is. It's this age.
Yeah.
It's my close vision.
Right. Now, it's a thing, and we're definitely at that age, mid-40s, where I think... I can even remember a doctor telling me everyone needs reading glasses in their 40s. There's an age. I did not know. It feels like all of a sudden I've been walking and I just fell off the cliff in the last week. Even with my phone sometimes. I don't know if you've seen me with the kids lately. There's been a lot of reading little text on stuff. I can't get it in focus sometimes, or it's so hard to read.
You need to use glasses now.
Yeah, but it
need readers.
Of a sudden.
Well, that's how it happens.
I just didn't know it was all of a sudden.
It's been that way for me too. I think it started longer ago, but it was something turned on. I had LASIK surgery in my You were there.
Yeah, I was there. That's cool.
In my early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
I had 20/20 vision. And then just probably 6 months ago, all of a sudden, it's gone to shit. And now I'm at the point where I really do need my glasses on if I'm going to be reading. But what sucks about it is it like disorients me and makes me dizzy if I have them on and I'm not just focusing on the screen or the book or whatever.
That's when you're getting like bifocals if you become that person.
Did you know that there was a scientific study done and that there are 2 times in humans' lives where their physical, the way they look
Yeah.
age-wise, leaps more so than any other time.
Tell me more.
Okay. You age how you age. Obviously, there's kind of standard average aging that happens through childhood and puberty and all of this stuff. There are 2 specific ages in the human timeline where
14? 15?
where maybe it's just as adults. Let's take away the childhood thing.
Puberty, you mean?
Where no, I'm saying let's take away so starting from 20 onwards. There are 2 ages where on average people look like they get older.
There's a jump.
There's a jump in how they look age-wise.
Okay.
More so comparative to like any other years.
Okay.
What do you think they are?
I would say the first one, and let me preface this, I don't think this applies to you and me. But I want to say for most people, there's one at 42, okay? And the other one is at 62.
Okay. So this is saying there are actually 3 spurts.
Okay.
That biological aging process isn't steady and it appears to accelerate. It is around ages 34,
Okay.
60,
60.
and then 78.
Okay. Feel like I got one of them right with 62. What did you think it was?
I thought it was 40 and 60.
Oh, in which case, nailed it.
Yeah, you did.
I'm excited to become a little old man.
I don't want you to be little.
What do you mean? I'm going to be a little old man. I'm 5'8". And which means I'll probably be 5'7", 5'6".
Oh, no.
We're both going to lose a couple inches. Look up how many inches do you lose as a senior citizen? Height, not genitals.
People typically lose almost 1/2 inch every 10 years after 40. That's tough.
A half inch every 10 years?
Well, so you may lose a total of 1 to 3 inches in height as you age. So here's the thing, though, and I know I harp on this.
Yeah.
I had a real rude awakening with my spine surgery and the hell I went through with slip discs and stuff.
Sure.
Posture
Yeah.
makes such a huge difference, and there are exercises that you need to be doing because you have, like, genetically, I think, the inclination to have that kind of head forward stoop thing starting. And I've noticed you've been working on your posture and you're looking great. But keep it up because that's going to I think that there's so much that one can do.
Do you?
And I'm going to be keeping my posture.
You are.
And you'll be, you know what, you won't know because I just am doing it.
Yeah.
But if you could see the side by side of what I would look like if I weren't keeping my posture in check and doing these exercises and doing these neck exercises and stuff, you would be less attracted to me.
In the more kind of feeble, hunched over version of you.
Yeah.
It changes you're very confident that's less attractive to me.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's like, you don't even know the cascade of also physical issues it does. Like I don't know what the statistic is, but like every half inch that your neck is forward, and all of us, this is like everyone right now with the screens and the, how we sit.
Phones is like the huge thing, right?
It puts something like 10 extra pounds of pressure on your spine, it starts to throw everything out of whack. It like fucks up how your core muscles are working together. So truly, we've talked about this before, but I think the most important things as we age, my view of health now is so much less about like, I want to be skinny and I want to blah, blah, blah. And I guess this is truly a sign of middle age. I go to Pilates now every week because I know that if I don't, I start to feel like weird and like things are slipping and that I might have another slip disc issue or my posture doesn't feel as good. My muscles don't feel as awake. Mm-hmm. I'm walking every morning. I'm doing these things that it's much more about like aging healthfully versus looking a certain way. And it's posture, it's grip strength.
I forgot about your fucking grip strength.
It's legit, Andy.
How are you working on your grip strength?
All you want. I've been doing push-ups.
That gets your grip strength?
Yeah. It's like, that's pretty good for everything. Your shoulders, your arms, your core, and your grip strength.
Where are you doing push-ups?
In the living room.
When?
I can do 40 now in a row.
The kind full
Yes.
style or the kind where you're on your knees?
Full push-ups.
Really?
Yeah.
40 in a row?
Uh-huh.
No fucking way.
Can.
That's incredibly impressive to me. And I don't want you to interpret me doubting you as anything, but that would be so impressive to me. So if you can actually do that, I'm really impressed.
Do you want me to do it right now?
No.
Okay.
We'd have to move some stuff.
Okay.
I would like to do this later, though.
Okay.
40 in a row?
Yeah. 40 in a row. I want to get up to, so here's what I want to get up to. I want to get up to 45 by my birthday, which is in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. I'll be turning 45. Mm-hmm. And then I want to keep this up where I'm doing the amount of push-ups that my age is.
Till when?
Till I die.
I think there's it's
just a goal.
No, I know, but do you see what I'm saying? It might be a tricky goal.
I know, but I've been very inspired by these women I've been seeing lately. Like at 80 years old, they take up weightlifting, and at 90 are fucking crushing it. I mean,
What do you mean they're crushing
90.
it? What are they crushing it?
Like they're able to like walk around and they're agile.
Yeah.
And like
nimble
and flexible. I'm not saying that they're going to be in the Olympics for weightlifting. I'm saying that they can walk around this world like they're 45 instead of being in a wheelchair or needing a walker or something like that. That's very inspiring to me.
That's cool. Are you digesting this kind of content on Instagram or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting it.
There's like senior citizen influencers?
Yeah.
Are
or
they
like
selling
younger
supplements and stuff?
Or like younger women who are like, look at, like trainers being like, look at Mildred. She can do a handstand. She's 76 years old. She just started weightlifting at 60. And she can literally do a handstand in the middle of nowhere. Like, not against a wall. She can just be in a handstand.
And how old is she?
72.
Attractive?
Well, that's attractive to me.
Nice. What's attractive to you in a 70-year-old man?
Posture.
God damn. Yeah.
I am serious.
I know.
It's
Trust me how much I know how important it is to you.
It's like a peacock feathering of virility and youth. Mm-hmm. I find it so important. Confidence.
We're talking about physical stuff right now.
Hair.
That's kind of offensive. But you said it, not me.
But you know what? There are guys who don't have hair who really rock it and pull it off.
Who's a bald man that gets you? Not even necessarily bald, but like
who I find attractive?
Yeah.
Your brother.
Okay. Okay. Great example. I don't know why you had to use that example. I was talking about like actors and stuff.
I was just I mean, look. I know you find my sister attractive.
It's
I
true.
think that objectively your brother's attractive and objectively my sister is attractive, and we can it doesn't mean anything.
What about an actor that's bald? Can you think of any that, or it's like,
I found something very interesting. Remember like a couple months ago how someone wrote in and was like, here's the formula for if you can date this person if they're too young for you.
okay,
You take your age minus your kids' ages plus,
yeah, yeah.
whatever. There was this Reddit that caught my eye that was like, do older men, like, are they able to find women their age sexually attractive?
Oh, I think so.
And that was kind of the takeaway was by and large, yes. Now there's always the cliche of marrying a younger woman.
Yeah.
And after watching Love Island and feeling like a little bit embarrassed by men and how it's like, oh, you really are just kind of driven by this primal biological need to like fuck everything.
Yeah.
I assume some of that comes with this primal instinct is to fuck this younger woman because she's still able to bear children. But the answers on this were like, no, I find my wife more attractive now that we're in our 60s
Oh, that's sweet.
than when I first met her. A lot of men saying like, I can't relate to younger women, or if a woman's more than like 15 years younger than me, she seems like a child.
Yeah.
Which I'm like taking heart in that because
Yeah.
that's definitely how I think most women feel. And also, listen, there are outliers and no judgment. We've talked about this. I think unless it's like wildly inappropriate, age ain't no thing. But there were some responses from older men who said, I still have sex once a week with my wife. Like, and we have been for 45 years or whatever it is.
Love it.
Now, there were definitely men who replied to that and were like, this 80-year-old's having sex 12 times more than me. I'm left feeling. So just to say, everyone has a different sexual situation and there's no right answer. But I've always wondered, like, what's up with the sex drive as you get older?
I think they say for men, it does start declining a little bit, right? And you start losing testosterone as you're getting older. But the steep down is just like a gradual steep down, where women, it's a much steeper steep down in general, I think.
After probably menopause, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I know that like hormone replacement therapy can help. Like there are things that you can do with hormones. One of my friends was saying there's something that like they go to a hormone doctor and there's something the doctor like puts up their bottom and it makes them so horny where they're like walking out of the office and they're like any man they see is like a piece of meat that they're like, oh my God.
Really?
It's really interesting.
That
I don't
is
know what that
very
thing is.
interesting. Well,
It's testosterone.
oh, right. Very interesting.
So I love the idea of you being in your, mid 60s, early 70s, and looking at me and thinking, she's so beautiful,
Oh, yeah.
versus looking at me and being like, there's an older version of the beautiful woman that I love. I don't doubt that you'll love me forever, but I mean like that you will actually be
Attracted.
to me
I
more
think there's
so
a-
than like 45-year-old women.
Right. I think there's a high likelihood of that.
That's nice.
We can't make promises, but I think it's very likely.
Yeah.
For everything that you're saying about all these sex drives, we talked about it recently, there does seem to be this cliche of people getting it on in the old folks' homes, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing. I wonder if anyone's done a documentary on that.
Well,
Not
it's
about like the...
It's kind of, I mean, listen, you're kind of unencumbered. I get it. I think that, no, I'm sure that's not true for everyone.
In an old folks... Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Obviously, there are going to be people who don't have the sex drive, don't have the hormones, are tired, are like widows and couldn't ever think of making love to someone who wasn't their husband.
Oh.
I might be like that.
You think I'm going to die before you?
You probably won't.
Probably not.
God. It's so true.
I mean, just
Scientifically.
statistically,
Yes.
I might outlive you, but maybe not. And listen, we always have our dream, dying side by side, hand together, watching. I don't know. What are we watching? Something on TV, maybe?
Love Island, and we both have a collective heart attack when another fucking guy goes, well, I've got to test our relationship. He's Australian in this case. I was going for British, and then Australian came out, so I guess, like, Sheila and I haven't even tested our relationship. Yeah. So now he's Southern. Now that we're in Casa Amor, I don't know why I have nothing to feel guilty about. This is either going to make us or break us.
Make us or break us. Someone commented that you specifically need to stop watching so much Love Island because you're forgetting that it is a reality show and they cast the most ridiculous people that they can cast, which I think is a valid point, but I still kind of stand behind. It does really present the stereotypes of the human experience.
We're also very aware, like, all of these people are gorgeous. Mm-hmm. There's a certain kind of life, I don't know, situation that we can all assume that there's a privilege in moving through this world that comes with being, like, in the top 5% of gorgeous people, We also, during the show, were very aware that, like, one of the cast members was kind of being made out to be the villain. And I was saying during it, remember, like, I don't think she's that bad. I think this is all editing and, So, partially aware, but I do get sucked in to the storylines that are being fed us, for sure.
It's good. It's good trash TV.
Going back to your eyes, are you going to go to the doctor?
I don't know, because
you should try, like, readers.
Well, I have so the last time I went to the eye doctor, I think I just got a reading glass prescription that I think I put in my glasses. So I got to just find them.
Oh, I know where your glasses are, I think.
You do?
I'm kind of excited because I think you look so handsome in your glasses.
But
you look so cute.
But I just think I need them for, like, reading, up close.
Well,
I'm not going to be, like, walking around the house much.
Yes, you are. You're always on your computer or your phone or whatever.
I haven't seemed to need it with my computer.
Because it's a little further away.
Yeah.
Have you tried holding it? I mean.
Oh, no, I have.
That's when you're like, I'm an old
back.
person looking at the menu, pulling it away from your face. Wild. It's wild times.
I know.
Yeah, we're there, man. I mean.
It's all good,
You're 45. I'm turning 45. We've been working on something where, like, I've revisited some of our earliest podcast episodes. Mm-hmm. And it is so crazy to think that we are almost 15 years into this. Like, the life we have lived podcasting and putting it out there, and, we're in a whole different life phase.
Yeah.
And we've gone through so many. When we started, it was like we had stars in our eyes and dreams in our hearts, and we were pursuing our dreams and had moved to LA, and we're like, young and hungry and hardworking.
Yeah.
And then became parents, careers kicked in, still hardworking, but with the, like, tired exhaustion of new parents.
Sure.
Now we're in middle-aged dumb. It's just a whole different ballgame.
It is wild how old you get, but also you feel the same inside.
Right.
Like, how different do you think you are compared to 25-year-old you? I mean, I know there's a lot of ways that I've changed. I know there's some opinions I've changed and whatnot, but, like, how much fundamentally have my values changed and stuff like that? It'd be curious to know, because you always feel the same inside.
I don't know that I do, though. Can I tell you how I feel like I've changed?
Sure.
I think, and I don't know if, like, the perception of me has changed, if people's experience of me outside of my brain would, like, clue into this. I feel like I used to identify in my mind as like a very sweet, bubbly, friendly, outgoing, eager to please, like eager to get it right, kind of teacher's pet-ish.
You're saying that's how you feel you came across?
That's how, yes, like I would used to prescribe to, if someone described me that way, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I come across maybe a little bit more, like maybe even sometimes a little scary now. Like
Where do you get that?
confident, kind of, I give way less fucks. I'm not going to put up with as much. I'm not going to like bend over backwards to accommodate if I don't think it's serving me in any way. It's not all about keeping the peace anymore. Like I think and maybe I was like that. I'm looking back on like my dog rescue days and stuff where I was kind of a little crazy. But it's just like how I think I come across to people is maybe a little bit more in line with how I feel like I am authentically on the inside, which is, look, I'm a Scorpio rising. Like, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with my family. At work, I'm not gonna like, I want everyone to have a good experience but ultimately, and of course I keep everything above board but I'm also not, here's what it is. I'm not totally preoccupied with what people think of me.
Right.
At work, if I get the sense that you don't like me,
Right.
as long as like we're all doing good work and I don't feel like you're being kind of, I think I'm being fair to you. I don't care really if you don't like me. In fact, I kind of expect now that I'm at a certain level that there are going to be people who just, everyone should kind of complain about their boss.
Right.
The bosses, like that's their,
Yeah, that's a good point.
that's their right to, and they're entitled to have that. So knowing that that's happening, it doesn't even bother me in the least.
That's interesting. The most interesting part of all of that is, to me, right when you said it, I was like, that didn't ring true for me.
About me?
Yeah, about like the difference.
Yeah.
But then I sort of get it, but I almost think socially, if you're in a social engagement that's not like a social encounter at a grocery store or a school event or something, although I think you're very kind and warm in those situations. But if you're in like a social event with friends and whatnot, I do genuinely think you come across very how you kind of described yourself in the beginning.
Well, with friends and stuff, I mean, I want to make people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
I do care in that situation because, like, I love those people.
Right. And but I think even I would assume, but I don't know this because I've never really seen you at work.
Well, do you think I'm intimidating at all to people ever? That's kind of a difference. I think I might be sometimes a little bit intimidating, whereas I never in a million years. And I would have thought of that as such a negative thing. And now I'm like, and I don't mean to be like tooting my own horn. It's just a fact of age and experience. And maybe this is more kind of work related, but
yeah.
And I might be wrong. Maybe someone is hearing this and going, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know.
I think you come across pretty friendly, but I think there's a possibility of what you're saying, and it's very interesting. And I definitely think as you've gotten older, probably the less like friend social aspects, just normal life social stuff, I think is definitely more true, where you don't give a fuck as much.
Yes.
I think that's true.
Do you feel like you've changed? I mean, I know one way we saw something on TV and you were like, oh my gosh, that place looks like crazy. There's shit everywhere. And the living situation was like notable to you. And I was thinking, like, that's been a huge change for you. You used to live like that.
Yeah.
With like a mattress on the floor and just laundry everywhere.
Yeah.
And now you do well, I might be speaking for you, but I think you do like things to be neat and tidy and where they go. And
oh my God, yeah. I mean, have you noticed the difference probably even, maybe not so much in this studio, it's always been pretty tidy, but I would say it is even more tidy than any other space that I've had. And I mean, it's not like this right now, but like every day I'm adjusting all these things to make them.
Yes, you like it a certain way.
But that stuff I think is true, but I don't think that's as more of the meat of your essence, sort of. I think you were speaking more about like your essence, sort
Which
of.
I think has just come with age. Well, this is another thing I think has come with age that maybe speaks to my change, and I'm curious if this resonates for you.
Yeah.
My change being like maybe I care less about if people don't like me, I can let that go, or
Yeah.
I expect it. Not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah.
I also know that there are people I don't like, and it doesn't make them bad people, or there are people I don't particularly like care to work with just because there's a vibe that's off. But I don't think that means they shouldn't be working with other people. And
Yeah.
I think that goes both ways. Whereas I think I used to have way more black and white thinking, like, oh, I don't like that person, and I think like terribly of them. Versus like sometimes you don't like someone and everyone else might like them, and there's just something energetically that isn't vibing, and that's totally fine. It's no character pronouncement on either of you.
I definitely, growing up, was definitely a regular high school kid, insecure about tons of stuff, wanted people to like me, wanted to look cool, was trying to look cool, But I don't necessarily think I ever really had a good concept of how people
Thought
saw
of you?
me. Do you know what I mean? I've never really thought of that. And now
Wow.
I don't know how much I've thought of that or if I have a grasp on it, really.
Well, I don't think that you have cared that much, which is part of your charm. I think
But I think in many ways I care a lot, probably. But then in some ways I don't. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, we've talked about this. I feel like you're comfortable having people not like you. I don't know. You have a different, whereas I feel like, oh, you don't like me? Well, this happened very recently. I had like an awkward interaction with someone that left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So I went back over to them to try to like win them back, even though I had no reason to need to do that.
Yeah, but that's a situation where you had an interaction, a social interaction with somebody, and in that moment you realized, oh, I didn't come across how I want to come across to them.
Right.
Like they, for whatever reason, maybe you
think
guys
they
weren't
misread
vibing
the
or they
situation.
misread it. Who knows what?
I made a joke and it didn't land. I felt embarrassed about it.
Right.
Kind of.
And it was right in that moment. And I think you were like, hey, that's not the headline on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so in some ways, I think it's commendable that you're like, I'm not letting this person label
Off the hook?
like label me
Yes.
that way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It would be a little different if you made that joke or said whatever it is that you said and just kind of owned it and didn't care, but you saw like it was misinterpreted and you did care that it was misinterpreted.
Right.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And just for the record, it was nothing offensive at all or anything like
No,
that.
no,
It kind of
no.
sounds like you said an offensive joke or
Oh,
something.
no.
Not at all. Huh, that's interesting.
Well, anyway, so you don't think your essence has really changed as you've aged? I know someone, a parent of yours who would beg to differ. What's happened to you?
My mom thinks I'm not as bubbly as I used to be.
Or that your light has been like snuffed out or something? I forget how she put it.
Well, I think it's because I sort of understand this.
I do too.
If you
used to be goofball, like always with the joke. And I mean, that's part of why you're so fun to be around. Now it's more kind of, you're more reserved and adult.
That's all it is. If you lived with me from 0 to 18 and saw the craziness, you were constantly around that. And then you stopped living with me. And now you're dealing with me as a 30-year-old, then 40-year-old. You'd be like,
and Dad.
What happened to this guy?
Well, okay.
But you see a lot more of the silly because you live with me.
Yes, and you always are making me laugh. Now, looking back at you from 0 to, I would say 22. I mean, honestly, until I entered the scene, maybe I kind of was an antidote in some ways. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I think you were a little out of control. And when
Sometimes,
I
yeah.
met you, you were like potentially facing kind of a drinking problem. You're smoking
Yeah.
2 packs a day.
Sure.
Now having your ADHD diagnosis and looking back on 0 to 18, does that give you any insight?
I don't know. I really don't know. To
And
to
you don't like
me,
it. You don't like that question, I can tell, which is fine.
no. I'm fine with the question. I just don't know how to answer it, really.
Well, I think of you as being a very fun person to be around, but I also think of you as like you were kind of a little shithead punk. And you would like playfully. You were also very playful, but it was kind of like sometimes a hyper playful energy.
Yeah.
And I think you got a lot of your kind of self-esteem from being that guy. Like you were definitely, you kind of stood out from people.
Interesting. See, I don't even know if I
Do you
would
think of
see.
yourself as more of like, I was just a chill kind of smoker?
There's different phases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I have no idea of my my self? What's the word?
Self-perception or
Yeah.
how people perceive you?
Yeah. Do I have no idea how people perceive
Well, how
me?
do you think now, right now, people perceive you?
I think people that know me like me and think I'm pretty warm and funny, and sometimes silly,
Yeah.
and pretty sarcastic. And
Yeah.
I think that's probably what most people think that know me. I think people that don't know me could think I might be a little bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's right. I think
Yeah.
you're
So maybe
very
I got it.
think you're very charming. I can always tell in a social situation when you genuinely like the people we're hanging out with because you will say something that's so charming and funny and like you have these insights that I mean and I get so it's always like such a thrill for me when you say these things or whatever. I wish I had an example. But everyone laughs at the thing that you say, and it's so adorable and charming. But when you don't like the people, yeah, you can be kind of like walls up.
Yeah,
Intimidating,
like if
honestly.
you take me to a social event,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be a boon or it could be a
bust.
liability and you don't know
A
what you're
liabil-
going to get.
Oh my God, 100%.
Right.
Like there is, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes there is a little bit of anxiety
I get that.
when I'm going to something that's, let's say, like it's a work thing
Yeah.
and neither of us are going to know that many people, or I know them and you don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not sure which Andy's coming to play tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm always thrilled when it's Mr. Charming, Prince
But
Charming.
he only shows up if it's genuine.
If the vibes are right and the people are right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, well, we cracked that nut.
weird. Not weird. I don't know. Something you don't. It's like something you don't think about too often, but you also probably think about all the time in a weird
Well, I
way.
was going to say, I also feel like, sorry to gender this, but, you know, as women, we are like taught to care a lot about what people think of us. I think more so than men.
Yeah. And I mean, we've joked so much about the physical aspect of everything of I don't fucking notice the craziest shit sometimes
Right.
on my body, on my person, on my face.
Yeah, your
How did you
face.
not see,
Yes.
this fucking eyebrow dandruff that's been there for a week? And like, what are you talking about?
But I don't want to paint. There are men out there who will have like the hygiene is a real question mark. And it's like, are you so unaware that you are very hygienic? I don't want to paint this picture that you're walking around with.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I don't even know if I'm I mean, some of this is gendered, it seems like, for sure, right? And what you're talking about, absolutely
Well, I
is.
get upset if I point out something on your face that I'm like, hey, and you get annoyed and you're like, how would you feel if it was reversed? And I'm like, it's not a fair comparison when I have to like analyze my face, every wrinkle, every stray eyebrow hair, everything because of my gender, I have to smear fucking shit on my face to be accepted by society. I have to pay money for all of this stuff. I have to do lotions and potions and, and nothing against people who enjoy doing that. And I sometimes do, but like, that's when I'm going, I'm allowed to point out this one thing that you're not even seeing on your face or on your tooth or whatever, when this is a burden I deal with every day. Like, it's a whole different situation.
It's a completely different bandwidth of stuff happening.
You see why, I think especially girls can become obsessive about how they look, and men too, but I think that by and large for women, it can be a slippery slope. I am like, whatever plastic surgery anyone wants to do because it makes them feel good, awesome. You do you. But when it becomes like an addiction almost or a slippery slope, it's
like a different thing.
Yeah, it's a different thing. It really bums me out. Yeah.
You can get pulled into that of anything. If we're talking physical stuff, plastic surgery.
Getting skinny.
Like some people get obsessed with a particular fitness thing, CrossFit, bodybuilding, anything like that. There's all the body stuff. Then there's all the other stuff. Alcohol, like all those things can be similar if abused, right? It's like a desire for controlling something.
Yes.
That can be bad.
It can be bad. We're all just walking bags of cells. Sometimes I find that comforting to think about, like, we're all just skin bags around muscles and brain waves on this random speck of dust in this insane galaxy. Yeah. Why are you so worried about whatever you're worried about? But then also sometimes I get very worried about whatever I'm worried about. Yeah. Well, this has been joyous.
Not the word I would have picked, but no, I enjoyed it. And it seems like now I don't know if my radar is predicting you to be sick or not. How do you feel now an hour after this? Are you like, I'm fucked? Is your throat sore?
Well, I feel kind of, if I'm checking in, pretty much the same as when we started, but my spirits are a little bit higher.
But I want to know about your body and your throat.
My throat still feels like it's getting to be sore. And my body feels like I want to go get in bed.
Because it's tired or achy or both?
Not achy.
That's good.
It's more of a fatigue.
Your eyes have life in them, but they're a little glassy.
Okay.
This is now my radar's real hard on you now because you are in good spirits, so it's hard to tell.
This is so typical because I have for literally a year and 2 months been pretty free with things. I've had work and stuff and deadlines.
Yeah.
I've had little spurts and bouts of times where I felt like the crunch. Mm-hmm. But this week, especially like this month, I feel like is going to be very intense for me. Of course, I'm getting sick. And all of the horoscopes, I swear to God, astrologers, I know I keep saying it, don't like Virgos. Or just things have been real murky for us, which actually feels exactly right. It's been a hard year. But I don't know if that's been true for all Virgos. I'm curious for our listeners, if there are Virgos out there, have you been feeling a little like both kind of, I'm feeling this dichotomy between feeling like grateful for my life and enjoying it and having more free time than I'm used to and kind of being able to chill a little bit more, but also this like totally feeling lost in life and floating through a purgatory of sorts and like waiting for things to kick in, which I hate. That is a feeling. I'm just curious. And I thought, this is our month, September. Here we go. Everything's going to turn on. Well, all of the horoscopes are like, hey, girl, things are going to feel rough, but you'll see that it's all for a purpose. So, fuck off.
You're fucked.
Well, I hope I feel better by next week.
Me too.
All right. Good night.
Good night.